All right, so in this video, I want to talk to you about the Lifestyle Accelerator. You may have heard of this coaching program before in discussions, in the videos that I've created or in the content that I've created, and you've never had a chance to actually um, really wrap your head around what it is that this private coaching program is all about. So I wanted to give you an inside look at the program I've created, and as well as some of the details of the experience itself, so that if this is something that you're interested in, you've got an idea of sort of what you're diving into. So the Lifestyle Accelerator is a 3-month or 12-week private coaching experience where you work with me one-on-one on a weekly basis in coaching sessions. And then as an additional bonus to the coaching sessions, I've created this program here that really helps you build foundational steps to creating authenticity and really the life that you want. So I'm going to dive into some of this content first of the actual learning elements or the modules, and then I'll talk more about the experience in general. So as you can see, this is actually the alpha version of the program, the learning modules itself. I used to have it all on a Google Doc and it was all laid out, and now I'm transitioning it to a website. So it's starting to look a little bit different, but the modules are the same, and I continue adding to it. So how this all starts is that in the beginning, there is an introduction video, really just a welcome video and some of the steps as to how to succeed in the program. That's followed by another video that really talks about what it means to succeed, and what we're actually trying to build here over the long term. It's great to achieve short-term goals and be focused on that, but what is it that we're really trying to create in our life long term that can be meaningful and really keep us focused and committed in those times where there's going to be struggle? Because in life there's always struggle. It's not going to be a straight line. And so this video is really good for diving into that a bit more. So once the introduction and onboarding stage is done, we go into the foundation. So the foundational elements of the program, what we want to build everything through. This stage, it really varies. There's elements here that will be lifelong, but there's pieces that we work on in the first 1 to 2 weeks. So the first one is going through what's called the Wheel of Life exercise. It's actually a pretty common exercise that's used in life coaching, where we're going to look at your whole life. There's categories that I've listed out, and we really dive into what is it, what's going well in your life, what's not going well, and how do we move everything in the direction of just prosperity, abundance. How do we move everything in the direction of more of a 10? So it's a really cool exercise, and the thing that I find really powerful about the way we'll do it together is that from there we really narrow down into about 3 categories that we're going to focus on in the coaching experience. So that could be health and fitness, that could be intimate relationships, that could be investing, personal finance. Like there's a bunch of different categories, and we're going to narrow down to 3, because the beauty of this is that when we really focus in on the 3 areas that are most important to us, it really expands, the growth expands to all the categories. It's almost like it's almost like a setting a fire. Great analogy, Andrew. But like the idea is that you set the flame in a few areas, and it just expands to all the other areas of life. It's a really cool experience. From there, there's an exercise on core values, and really diving into what are your core values as an individual. So often we sort of step over this, we don't take this seriously, and what I've found is that the coaching clients that go through this core values exercise and really give it the weight that it deserves, they really benefit from it. From there, we go into mental framing and emotional fitness. This is a powerful exercise that was taught to me from one of my previous coaches. And the whole idea of it is really, creating this document for life, this step-by-step document where you can future pace yourself and really get connected to like, some empowering beliefs, some quotes to live by in your life, your core values, your achievements, all these things, and they come together into this one really powerful document that you create. And what that does is it allows you to check in with yourself, and really feel into like, okay, this is my life. This is what I get to control. I control my life. There's the world outside of my life. I get to control what's here. And having this document really allows you to check in with yourself and really like hone in on like the greatness of who you are. It's a really, really powerful exercise. And the the clients that have taken this exercise on, they've really seen like almost immediate benefits. Some have even said it's really going through that experience is worth the coaching program in itself. So that's been really cool. Um, Moving on, because there's a lot to cover here. From there, we get into developing consistent daily routine and habits. Now, you may already have something like this in place, which is totally cool. You may not even need to do this unit at all, or even go through it, but it's really powerful for just like understanding, okay, how do I create a daily routine, and what do I do when I'm not always consistent? There's a lot of resources out there about creating daily routines, but there's nothing really to discuss, what happens when you fall off the tracks for, a few days or a week. How do you pick yourself back up? I put this unit in here because this has been on the path of mine for, 4 years, and my routine still isn't perfect. It's pretty good, but I'm constantly looking for ways to make it better. And you get to experience a lot of that in this module. I brought a lot of good resources together for this. Then we get into some of the beauty parts of psychocybernetics. If you haven't read that book before, come across that book, I definitely recommend getting a copy of it. There's a really key element in psychocybernetics talking about creating a achievements list. The idea behind an achievements list is that we're actually trying to prime our mind for success on a daily basis. So what happens with the average person who probably doesn't go through an experience like this is that whenever they go through life, whenever they're looking to achieve new things, because we're goal-seeking mechanisms, we're goal-seeking people, we often run into roadblocks and we can't seem to get over them, largely in part because we look to the past to really like prime ourselves. So if I'm wanting to go for a new job, well, most of us are going to look to our past, and we're going to initially look at, okay, like what were the positives that I've done in the past to get a job. But then oftentimes our ego, our negativity will creep in there, and we won't know what to do with it. All of a sudden we won't feel good. We will feel kind of like in a failure space. And so what this exercise does is it allows you to really dive into what are the successful moments of the past that I can really hold on to that will really influence my entire life. I've done something unique with this exercise where basically I'm keeping a continual log of achievements so that I always have fresh stuff to work with. It's really cool to be able to tackle sort of your roadblocks or issues in the moment with successes. Next, we go into changing your limiting beliefs into empowering ones. This is a great exercise for just getting into the mindset of being able to shift your limiting beliefs on your own, without necessarily having to have the support of others. It's a really powerful exercise to get into the habit of doing on a consistent basis. So all these units, the success mechanism within you, the achievements list, and the limiting beliefs get added to your mental framing and emotional fitness document, which is really cool. Like I said, it becomes this living document of your success, really. Finally, the last 2 weeks of sort of the mindset foundational units, we're looking at developing relaxation and visualization skills. There's some great exercises in there from the book Psychocybernetics. And then we finally finish off this unit with entering the theater of the mind. The theater of the mind is a very powerful visualization tool that I use almost on a daily basis. And the idea is that um, you know it, to visualize what we want in our lives, to achieve what we want, we have to be able to visualize it. We have to be able to see what that is. And so many of us get hung up on this. We try and think our way or do our way to the things that we want, when really we should be visualizing and seeing ourselves achieving it ahead of time, before ever having to get it. And so this is a really powerful exercise for really bringing everything together, really bringing in, a component of relaxation, really seeing the successes that you've had in life, and then diving into like, okay, how do I now visualize what I want in the future? It's really cool. So that wraps up the first part of the program. And then going into the second half of the program, again, this stuff is it can be optional depending on where you're at. That's a decision we make together. But now we get into the achievement system. Because what I found is that it's great to have all these mindset skills and all these tools, but if there's no system in place to actually move towards what you want, it ultimately ends up falling up short, or you never really have a roadmap to get there. So what I've done with this achievement system is pulled in some of the best resources from the 12-week year, um, and some other programs that really have helped myself hone this stuff in. I get a lot of credit for being consistent and getting things done. And the funny thing about that is that, in this stage of life, well, there's a bit of hustle there. A lot of it is just the system that I've developed to do this. And so I share with you throughout this, some of the things that have worked for me. But what I'm really wanting to do here with you is develop the system around you, taking whatever you have and helping you, really refine it and make it better for yourself. So we start out with quarterly goal setting and just looking at, okay, like what does it look like to develop quarterly goals? How can I be easy on myself in the beginning as I get into this process of really narrowing down what it is that I want to achieve? Because most people look at it as like, I'm going to set my goals for a year, and then 10 months goes by before they take action. That's why the quarterly system is so beautiful, is because it pushes you to get into this now. Next, we get into the weekly meeting. As you can see here, the weekly meeting is a powerful thing to get into for your life, because what it is basically that every week you're scheduling on your calendar to sit down with yourself for an hour and plan out the week in advance for yourself. It doesn't have to get super linear on that and making sure that everything is perfect, but really just getting an idea of like, where are my top priorities? What meetings do I have to be at? What could potentially throw me off track this week, and getting this all prepared ahead of time. Um, and then finally, we get into daily scheduling, and we all have our own, takes on daily scheduling. What I wanted to do with you here is really just connecting it back to that weekly meeting and the quarterly goals. How can this be a system that flows together? So, I share some of my own, strategies, but really, again, the whole part of this is to make this exercise for, to do all this so that this is about your life. This is about using these tools to really accelerate what it is that you want in your life. So from there, we get into there's conclusion and the next steps of what your life will look like. And then I've also prepared some bonus modules, which I'm still adding to. One of them is just doing an exercise called the weekly review, where you give yourself a ranking, for the week you've had, and talk about what went well and what didn't go well. So this is sort of like the foundation of the program. The cool thing about it is that I'm continually adding new elements to it as well. So when you join the private coaching experience, you're going to have access to this for a lifetime. As long as I'm alive, you'll have access to this, basically, and hopefully after that. But the idea here is that, like, this is going to be a developing program. You'll find that this serves as the core, but as we go through our private coaching together, I'll give you some more resources, around No More Mr. Nice Guy, or just things I've come across in my own experience. Um, so again, I spent a lot of time on the modules here, but it's really cool because what I find is that this is an experience where everybody that comes into this experiences it differently. They see these as sort of the core modules, but they go about them in their own way. You know, some people fly through these, some people take more of their time. And some people don't finish them at all. But the beauty of that is that the coaching, then the private coaching, meets you wherever you're at, and it doesn't have to be around this stuff. You know, I find that a lot of the coaching focuses on, you know, what's happening in the moment, you know, what's happening in your career, what's happening at home. You know, how do we continue to develop the authentic person that you are, and you know, use these modules here as sort of just like a base of all that. So you know, outside of this, you know, the coaching experience is on a weekly basis. So we meet together once a week for a call and really focus on what it is that you need. And then outside of that, uh, there is communication between WhatsApp or email, whatever one is working best for you. And we, you know, we touch base, you know, sometimes not very often during the week, you know, maybe not at all, but at other times maybe, you know, you need that support, and that element is there for you. And then finally, we have a shared folder that we work on exercises together. So where, you know, you can submit things in there, I'll review them for you, and you know, the whole base of this program is to really create a tight container where you know, as you go on this path, as you push against your comfort zone, you've got myself there to support you through that and push you, but to support you in a way that this whole experience becomes a lifelong thing and not just something that, you know, you did for 3 months and that was fun to do. So let me know if you have any questions about this. I'd be happy to answer them for you. And yeah, if this is something that interests you, that's excellent. You know, I'm happy that you, you know, this video has helped you with that. Send me a message, send me a private message, and we can start to have a discussion around, you know, how we can get you into this, or you know, feel free to book a call with me. I'll include a calendar link below for this, and we can get the discussion going.